Okay guys, so I got some good news. I finally got a level working that has never worked before ever in the history of making this game. And it wasn't even that hard. I mean, it was hard, but it wasn't that hard. Okay, and that was to code the creating and eating block. And you see right here in the level, okay, I got this to work. The original idea was to have the block over here, and then the block was going to go clockwise around the thing. So I was originally going to have the creating and eating block, platform. I was going to have that set up originally vertically, okay? But the interesting thing, the cool thing about hacking, or I don't know if it's cool, but the neat thing about hacking is that sometimes you can't always do what you want to do. You're limited, you're restricted. So, what I did was I tried to do it vertically, and the reason why that failed is because this little platform down here, this is really interesting because it consists of a combination of sprites and blocks. If I click the head of this trail actually goes counterclockwise, because that's the way you have to, that's the only way I could get it to work. So the very head of this, if it actually says something, it says it's currently the eating block, okay? So the very top of this is the eating block. The very back, oh wait a minute, what the hell? No, it has to be here it is. Currently it's a creating block. The last one has to be an eating block. So it creates as it goes forward and eats as it also goes forward, but it needs to eat so that the tiles don't last there forever. Okay, like if you're gonna create something, you need to take away in order for this platform to, look like it has a finite number of tiles in it. So the interesting thing is when you set this up, notice how you have to have a brown block that is touching the head. The block does not have to touch the tail, but it has to overlap the head. That's kind of, counterintuitive. Why would that, be like that? Well, it just needs to be like that. So, after I programmed it and found out how to code it, using this as a template, you have up, right, left, and down, and these are numbers, right is 0, left is 1, down is 2, up is 3. And then this is the actual, these little things right here, these are the actual directions, okay? It tells you at this space in the ROM that these are the directions in which this thing travels. The interesting thing is that there's two different paths, one for the main overworld and one for a submap. I don't know if my level is actually on the overworld or a submap because I'm using the no overworld patch, so I just made both codes the exact same and just said screw it, I'm bound to get it right and I'm not using this anywhere else in the game. This is a one-time deal. So I meticulously calculated, and figured out how to make it do this, counterclockwise thing, and wrote all the values in here. And this is a patch called the Creating Eating Block Sprite by somebody. This is by Luigi-san. So, hey, Luigi-san, hats off to you. You did a good job with this. Could I have done it without it? I don't know. Maybe. So, once I coded, the whatever, I actually, there was a problem, okay? And the problem was, when you hit the P switch, since this requires the brown blocks, and I'm using brown blocks with a P switch in my game, there's a conflict. The conflict is, it'll turn this thing into coins, the same as a normal block. So to fix that, what I did was I found a spot in the ROM which spawns the thing. And here it is right here. Yeah, so this piece of code right here that says this is what the graphics look like for the sprite. Literally, this draws the graphics for the sprite on the head and tail, okay, of that platform. This is the sound, but I actually added this in. I went and found this in, I think, the ROM or RAM map, and I found this and I threw this in here, and this is the tile that gets spawned by the sprite. So I wanted to change the tile because I didn't want a brown block. So I changed it, and you only get so many different options. It gives you a list, like on the Super Mario World Central website, like it says you can replace the brown block with a list of other blocks, and it gives you a list. Well, the problem is I actually don't like that, because why can't you just pick any tile you want? And maybe you can, I don't know, but it only gave me like a finite number of things to choose from, and I wanted to pick something that I hadn't used in my hack for anything else, because I wanted to replace it, you know, the graphics, and I wanted it to be a global thing, which means it's going to take place on page 1 or page 2. Yeah, so what I ended up doing is I ended up replacing, see this one right here? It's this one right here. This normally was a note block, okay? In Super Mario World, there are a couple note blocks that are like the exact same, okay? So I said, you know what? I only need one note block in my hack, and even though I do use note blocks, if I had used this other note block anywhere in the game, then I could always replace it with the other note block that works. So I saw it as a win-win, and win-win situation. So what I did was I went into this is the add objects editor, but actually I went into the other editor, and I simply copied the brown block and put the graphics on top of the note block, the extra note block, and then I changed the properties to act like 130, which is the cement block. So now, if all my logic is correct, now instead of these turning into coins, you know, and screwing up, because literally the whole thing falls apart when it turns into coins. So now I'm setting it as the cement block, and now I have this graphic in here, and everything should be okay, right? But it wasn't. It was half okay. I know this sounds totally, you know, it defies all logic, but everything worked okay, and the platform was solid. Okay, it was solid. But the graphics still changed into coins. But they were solid coins, which means you couldn't collect them. But graphically, it was screwed up. Yeah, I don't even know how to explain that. Because if you replace the graphic of this one with this one and set this one to 130 to act like, why all of a sudden would it change? It just to a coin. It didn't act like a coin. I couldn't collect it, but it still changed graphically when I hit the P-switch to a coin. And I thought that was just really weird, because if I set it to act like 130, it should not be acting like a coin, or it shouldn't change into a coin, right? Because this is just graphics, right? Anyway, so what I did was I actually said, and then I tried this block over here. This is just what it was, the red exclamation block. I actually just copied and pasted the red exclamation blocks graphics on here onto the note block and said, okay, let's see if this turns into a coin, you know, and then try something else. And I tried it with this block over here, and it turned out that it worked just fine and didn't turn into a coin. So I said, you know what, I don't know, I don't have an explanation for this, but I'm going to go and import something from extra graphics. I literally took this little brown block. I took the brown block right here and copied it in YYCHR and did a file of extra graphics with just basically this, and of course and this too right here. You know, these are my extra graphics for this level. And I just threw them in an extra graphics bin file, and then copied and pasted. Here, watch this. Yeah, watch. Here we go. I did this. See right here? These are my extra graphics, and I only have 2 of them. So I copied this over here and pasted it on this one, and then everything like magically worked out, because then now when I hit the P switch, it doesn't turn into a coin. So, you know, it shouldn't have turned into a coin to begin with if I just copied and pasted this graphic on top of this graphic, because why? What's the explanation? This is just supposed to be a graphical thing. But again, it changed into a coin when I hit the P switch. I don't know why. So anyway, I got that working. So visually, it looked excellent. But there was a problem with ending the sequence, okay? Because if you let the thing, and this thing does like 4 loops, by the way, and then it goes down and then disappears. And the reason why I did 4 loops is because I could actually get it done in like 3 loops, but I always want to give the players 1 more loop than what I can do it in, because, you know, like let's say on the first loop you don't know what's going on in this level. Well, why should you be penalized for not knowing what's going on if you've never seen the level before? So I like to have kind of like a little bit of leeway or whatever to give the player. So it's kind of like, you know, if I can do something, and I'm the one that made the darn thing, if I can do it in 3, then I'm going to give somebody 1 more than me, because, you know, I want to be friendly to the players. That's how I think you should make a game. You want to make the game not so strict. You want to give a little play, so to speak. You want to have it so that you know, if somebody doesn't do something perfectly, it's still okay, you know, because it's about having fun. And that's the thing about video gaming design that I don't know if everybody understands, but this is about having fun. It's not about presenting the hardest level that you could physically imagine and giving that to the player. It's not about that. It's about offering an entertaining experience. Okay, instead of going for instead of trying to make the levels hard, make the levels creative, make them engaging, make them interesting. And even if they're even if you have a level that's easy but it's interesting and nice to play, then you know what? People are going to like it. But what if you made a level really hard? You know, like people aren't going to like hard levels. At least the average, you know, video game player out there. You know, maybe people that like the, you know, tool assisting things, maybe they like hard ones, but I'm trying to make this game so that a typical player can pick it up and make some progress on it. I want somebody like, I don't know, like my aunt. I want to make this game to where like my aunt could actually play it and possibly beat it. And my aunt, you know, doesn't even really play video games, but somebody like that, you know, somebody who's not really into it can do it. And I think my graphics are screwed up right here. Let me check something real quick. Nope, that's how they are. Anyway, so everything worked just fine, but when I let the thing do 4 loops and then go down, the sound of the you know, the tick tick tick, the because that's the noise it makes, tick 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 or whatever. The sound of the path thing, platform thing, it wouldn't go away. It just kept on going tick 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 tick. So I had to try to fix that, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. And what I did was I studied the original. Actually, I studied this level, which is the level that Nintendo used, and it's right here in the level. When the thing, it's like tick, 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 and then it goes down, and then it terminates. And so I said, okay, I'm going to study that code a little bit closer, And so I looked at the original coding that was in the original patch. This is not the original patch, but I found out that it's this value right here that terminates the block. It's FF. So after I figured out that FF terminates the block, I put it in my code, and now everything basically works flawless. And so now we're going to do it, and I'm just so happy to see this come alive, because it is this game is something that I'm just very proud of, and I cannot wait. We're gonna make it so it's a little bit better. This game is just something that I am very proud of, and just seeing it come to life is just really cool. All right, let's do it. So anyway, so I made it so that the first pass you can basically just kind of check out what's going on, and you don't have to do anything because, you know, let's say you don't know what you're doing, how would you know what to do on the first pass? So anyway, you have to hit the silver one first, because then you can't get the other one because of the munchers. Now you can get the brown blocks. Now the interesting thing is that someone might try to fall on these coins, right? Oh shit, man, I screwed it up. You might try to jump on top of the coins like the other two situations, because on the other two basically loops, you're always falling onto something, right? I mean, that's typically how that works. Here, you know, I'm falling onto this one, right? But on the last one, you can't fall on it because it's just coins, so you have to get it from the bottom. So it's kind of like, I mean, I guess you could get this from the bottom, right? I mean, there's no saying you can't, but I would find it easier to get it on the top. But yeah, so the cool thing is the coins have to be basically grabbed from the bottom, or they could be grabbed like that. There's many different ways to do it. So let's look here. So see how it goes down? We're not going to beat the level, but just watch. See how it stopped? It stopped. Okay, now we're going to do it again, and I'm going to beat it. And when I said stopped, I mean the sound stopped. It's very important for me to get everything right in this game, because I just really want to like lacquer on the fine polish. I don't want anything to look like it was done shitty or sloppy or anything. So making the sound end was very important to me. And if you stand on those blocks, you'll actually die. Well, it depends on when you hit the P switch, but yeah. So look, it's not hard. The level's not hard. You're going for fun and interesting. That's what you're going for. That's the experience you want to give your players. So yeah, so this was done basically all day today.